Non-Americans, what is the craziest rumor you heard about America that turned out to be true? I grew up in this tiny village in Ireland where American movies were basically our only window into what the US was actually like. My uncle would always tell these wild stories about America, saying Americans did all their shopping at night in these massive stores that sold literally everything. Food, clothes, furniture, and even guns all in one place. He'd say they'd show up in their pajamas like it was completely normal. I always thought he was just making up another one of those America is weird jokes. When I was 23, I got this construction job in Kansas through my cousin who'd been living there for a few years. Figured it'd be good money for a couple years before I came back home. Didn't think much about all those crazy stories until my first week there. I was sharing this tiny apartment with two other guys, and it was pretty basic. We had the essentials, but not much else. One night around 1 a.m. I was getting ready for bed when I realized I was completely out of toothpaste. Like I'd been squeezing that tube for 3 days trying to get the last bit out. My roommate Jake was watching TV, and I asked him where I could get toothpaste at that hour. He looked at me like I was crazy and said, "Just hit Walmart." I was confused because back home, everything closes at like 6 p.m. on weekdays. I asked if it'd be open, and he laughed. "Dude, it's Walmart. It's always open." So I drove to this Walmart thinking maybe it'd be like a 24-hour gas station with basic stuff. When I pulled into the parking lot, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was 1 a.m. on a Tuesday, and the parking lot was almost full. Cars everywhere. I thought maybe there was some kind of emergency or something. I walked inside, and it was like entering another dimension. This place was huge, bright as daylight, and packed with people. Not just a few night shift workers grabbing coffee. I'm talking families with kids, teenagers hanging out, elderly people doing their weekly shopping. At 1 a.m., the first thing I saw was this woman in a pink bathrobe and fuzzy slippers pushing a cart full of cereal boxes. She was talking on her phone about her daughter's school project like it was 2 p.m., not 2 a.m. Then I saw this guy with no shirt on, just basketball shorts, pushing a cart stacked with 3 flat-screen TVs. As I was walking toward what I hoped was a pharmacy section, 2 teenagers on skateboards rolled past me down an empty aisle. Not walking, skateboarding, inside a store, and nobody seemed to care. I finally found the toothpaste aisle, which had more options than most entire stores back home. While I was trying to decide between like 50 different types, I wandered around to see what else this place had. That's when I passed the bakery section and saw an entire table covered with wedding cakes. Beautiful, multi-tiered wedding cakes just sitting there ready to buy at 1:30 a.m. Who needs a wedding cake at 1:30 a.m.? Then I turned the corner and completely froze. There was an actual gun counter, with real guns behind glass, right next to the fishing supplies. I'd never even seen a gun store before, let alone one inside a supermarket where people buy milk and bread. There was this older guy in a cowboy hat actually looking at rifles while his wife was comparing prices on fishing line. That's when this announcement came over the speakers. "Attention shoppers, our live reptile sale is starting at the back of the pet aisle." I thought it was a joke until I saw people actually heading that way. I followed them because I had to see this. Sure enough, there was this whole section with snakes, lizards, and other reptiles in tanks, and people were buying them. At 2 a.m., I watched this man in full cowboy boots haggle with an employee over the price of a snake. A snake, at 2 a.m., in a store where I came to buy toothpaste. The whole time I'm walking around, more weird stuff kept happening. A mom with 3 kids was letting them test out bicycles in the toy section. There was this couple having what looked like a serious relationship talk in the furniture section, sitting on a display couch. Someone was grilling hot dogs at a food stand inside the store. By the time I finally made it to check out with my toothpaste, it was 2:30 a.m. The cashier, who looked like she'd been there all night, asked me if I found everything okay with the same enthusiasm you'd expect at noon, like this was all totally normal. As I walked back to my car, I realized my uncle hadn't been joking at all. The Walmart at night thing wasn't a rumor or an exaggeration. It was real. It was absolute chaos, and somehow everyone acted like it was just another Tuesday.